guys? Mike here, head trader, True Trading Group. July 23rd was an okay day. There was some good action in some higher price stocks. Hasbro, Retta, Tilray was pretty active again. So a pretty decent day action-wise. Small cap market was dead. Completely dead, but there was some pretty good action in some of the larger names. I'm going to go over to you guys in this video. I opened a new swing trade today to the short side, so I'm going to go over that with you, and I'm going to go over with you 2 lessons about taking profit, because there were 2 winning trades that I made today. I made 3 total day trades, guys. 1 loser, 1 winner. 1 loser, 2 winners, and then I opened up a swing trade. So I'm going to go over with you on those 2 winning trades. There is a lesson to learn from both of them about taking profit. 2 different lessons about taking profit, and I'm going to go over those lessons with you. Before I get into that, guys, tomorrow is TTG Tuesday. Okay. If you guys have been watching my videos, you're a member of the channel, you like the content, shoot me a comment. I respond to everything. Give me a like, share. But more importantly, come trade with me tomorrow. The True Trading Group chat room is free for everyone tomorrow. TTG Tuesday. Just go to our website, truetradinggroup.com, and register for TTG Tuesday. Come in, chat. Trade with me live, send me a message, say what's up, ask me questions. I love to get to know you guys more than from just the YouTube channel. So don't forget to go to the website and sign up for that. Now let's get into, we'll start off with the 2 take profit lessons, then we'll get into the swing trade. So first we'll start with DDE. DDE was the only really small cap stock that I traded today. It was the only one that I really had eyes on today. It was the only one that had decent, good enough volume and some pretty good action in the morning. But we had a huge gap up today. We were gapping so far from any previous support levels. I thought this area would have been way too big of a pullback. That just would totally destroy the chart. Would have been too weak of a pullback. So I thought that DDE was going to be very wild, kind of like up and down, choppy action. I told all our members in chat that it's really the only small cap that I'm watching. I had eyes on Hasbro, Tilray. A couple other larger names were kind of on my watch list this morning, but I said this is kind of the only small cap I was looking at. I expect very choppy action. I said I think it needs time to digest this big gap up. It's so far away from any level of support, and that's exactly the action that we had. This was a disaster. This is such choppy action, up, down, up, down, up, down. This is just chop. Very, very choppy action there in that DDE, and then I started to notice the trade line was working its way up, and then you got a trade line view up crossover. Here is my trade line, guys. You see the support on the trade line right here. And once we got this trade line, the yellow line on my screen, you saw at the time the heaviest volume bar of the day as the stock shot up here to the high of the day. I got long, guys, at $3.17 right here. I'll take you to my trade announcements on the day. Where are we? Here we go at 10:02. Long DDE at 317. Stop loss 305 there. So I was going to risk this right back down towards that trade line and back down below zero. So I got long at 317 at 10:02. Okay. And then you can see we started a hold VWAP support. And then here you go, a trade line VWAP crossover. There's your trade line crossing over VWAP, and then bang, that ignited the move, and that sent the stock soaring through the high of the day to put in a new high of 349 on real strong volume. I took profit off. I'll show you right here. Took some profit at 341, 7 minutes after my entry. 341, I took some profit, and now it still says still holding some. I'm still holding some, guys, because I was looking for continuation. That was a real strong, huge volume bar, heaviest volume bar of the day. Major resistance there at 325. We just broke it to the upside. I'm looking for a pullback for that support area to hold and then continue higher. So that's why I was still holding on to my position. But you can see DDE ended up failing. That breakout did not hold. We did not get continuation, and we failed. And this takes me to my first lesson about taking profit. Guys, when I'm long a stock ahead of a resistance level break, like this is an example of that. So I'm long from right here, $3.17, and we break through that resistance. I am always selling some of my position into this move. Okay, usually about 25% of my position I drop right on that first break. It's so important that you drop a piece of your position on that first break because it does multiple things. One, it locks in profit, okay? So now if the trade fails, I've already got a little piece of profit there that I can walk away from the trade profitable even if the trade fails, which is exactly what happened in DDE. I was able to make money on the trade even though the trade ended up failing. And it also, second, it also makes it easier for you to hold on to the rest of your position. So let's say this pulled in, held support, bounced back up, pulled in a little bit, bounced back up. And if you were in full position, maybe you get a little nervous during that action, during that consolidation action, and you bail. And then 5 minutes later, the stock explodes and runs up to $4. If you sell some of your position on that first break, it makes it easier to hold on to the rest of that position. You're more comfortable in the position. You're more comfortable because you know you're already locked in profit. It's almost like you're playing with house money. And second, you're more comfortable because your position size is now smaller. You're not in full size. So you're going to be a little bit more at ease in the trade. You'll be able to think more clearly, keep emotions to the side, and let the trade ride. Okay? So that's lesson one about taking profit. I usually always take some profit on the initial break. Fast forward, guys, I'll continue on with this trade. We see we pull back in. We broke back below that previous high, broke below VWAP, and I stopped out of the rest of my position. Taking my trade announcements. Sold out remaining DDE at 313. Okay, so long at 317, sold a piece at 341, sold out of the rest at 313, was still able to walk away from the trade, net profitable. But if I did not sell that piece at 341, I'm losing on that trade. Long at 317, out at 313. If I didn't take that profit at 341, I lose on that trade. Okay, so that's lesson number one about taking profit. My next trade was Tilray. I traded Tilray on Friday. I caught a nice move on Tilray, but I left all this on the table in Tilray. Okay, I left all this on the table until I was out of this move, guys, before that happened. Still made a nice chunk of change because I got long Tilray right in here. So I was still able to make a nice chunk of change on this move from here up to here, but I left a lot on the table. So when Tilray was gapping up today, I said, I might look for this a little bit more action on this Tilray. And we got a nice little setup here. All right, I was looking for this $30 area to hold support. That was Friday's close. Okay, so here we are on that Tilray. So you see we open gap up, we pull in down into that support level that I was looking to see if we get an area of support. And I want to show you something, guys. We've got a reverse head and shoulders pattern form here, kind of a micro pattern because it's on a pretty short time frame. These are 3-minute candles. So intraday, you've got a reverse head and shoulders, and here's your neckline. Okay, here's your resistance, neckline right here. Okay, there's your resistance. So here's a reverse head and shoulders pattern. And I started to see this pattern. So that's a reverse head and shoulders at that support level that we spoke about, that I spoke about pre-market to our members. And then you had a VWAP trade line VWAP crossover right at the neckline break. So that's two triggering moves. Okay, a reverse head and shoulders break through the neckline, that's a trigger for a trade. A trade line VWAP crossover, that's another trigger for a trade. So I had both happen at the exact same area. This is a trade line VWAP crossover right there. Orange line's VWAP, yellow line's trade line, bang, you get that crossover, and that occurred right when the stock broke through the neckline on the reverse head and shoulders pattern. So I got long Tilray right in here. Here we go back to my trade announcements. Here you guys see at 1040 long Tilray at 32.27. Stop loss down to the 31.75 area. Okay, so I'm risking right down back below that neckline. Okay, so there's where I got long. You see we started to push and churn our way higher, and then Tilray ends up breaking through the high of the day. And when I'm going to talk to you, this brings me now to my second take profit lesson. When you get long a trade that's far away from the high of the day, okay, you have to expect that high of the day to become a little bit of an area of resistance. So when you're in a trade, you want to look to take some profit off in front of that high. Okay, you want to take some profit off in front of that high in case that high does not break. You don't want to be sitting in full position as the stock rolls over, and that's exactly what happened in Tilray. Okay, Tilray ended up putting in that high and then rolling over. Never went back to test that high of the day. So had I not taken profit in front of, so here was the high of the day at the time. Okay, had I not taken profit in front of that high of the day, and I'm just sitting in full position, this stock rolls back down and I'm right back to where I got long. Okay? You can't let that happen. You've always got to look, you got to be prudent. You got to lock in profits when you can. You got to look to take profits off the table. I'll take you back to my trade announcements. I'll show you my take profits. Here you guys see I took some off at 32.95. I sold the bulk of my position at 33.20. Okay, and then I sold out the final piece at 32.20. Well, after I started to realize that the stock started to roll itself over. So almost $1 a share on the bulk of my position on Tilray. So it was a nice little trade. And that lesson is taking some profit off in front of the high in case that high does not break. You don't want to be sitting in full position when the stock completely rolls itself back over after it finds resistance at the high of the day. That's what happened in Tilray. Don't let that happen to you. Lock in those profits on at least some of your position. Protect those gains. And next, my swing trade. Guys, I shorted Roku today. Okay, I am short Roku from 49.65. Right here was my entry short. And let's get to the daily chart and I'll show you why. Here's our daily chart, guys. We've got some pretty key resistance here in the low 50s. All right, you can see here prior area of resistance. After we broke through it, you can see this then started to become an area of support on Roku. You then had this gap down day, okay, on Roku, and then you see we rallied back up, tried to break through that level in mid-February and could not. Huge gap down, stock sold off. Now we rally back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days of more resistance back at this same area that we sold off real hard from in the middle of February. We're back at that area and we gapped up today into the face of that resistance level. I'm going to leave this line drawn on my screen now for the daily, and let's go to a 3-minute and let me show you where it lines up. Look at that. We gapped right into the face of that resistance this morning and just immediately ran away from it. Sold off real hard from that resistance level. Okay, here's that. Let me go to a 15-minute. You can see here's that resistance level. We sold off real hard from it. Okay, and we sold down right into a little support level. Here you guys can see previous pivot high. We break above it. Here you guys can see very clearly a nice little area of support on Roku, and we sold right down to that area. Tried to bounce, pulled back in, and then that area just held for the rest of the day and the stock traded sideways. I'm looking for a break below this support level, and I'm looking for the stock to start to drop down back into the mid-40s on Roku. The other thing that I like is some bearish divergence on the MACD indicator. Let's go back to the daily chart. Here's your daily chart. I'm going to get rid of the volume. I'm going to stretch out the MACD indicator. Here's our MACD indicator. Bearish divergence. What does that mean? Share price in Roku made a new high, okay, or a higher high. This is a daily chart, so here's a higher high. From this previous pivot high, here's a higher high, so the share price went up. Meanwhile, you have a lower high in the MACD indicator. Okay, value of the MACD was not able to get as high as it was in this previous pivot high. That's an early sign of bearish divergence and an early sign the stock could be starting to get tired, and we could start to see a pullback or the trend could start to reverse. The other thing that I started to notice, let me zoom this in so you can see a little more clearly. We're about to get a signal line crossover where the MACD is going to cross below that signal line. That would be another bearish signal that could take the stock down into this area. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a move down to 44, 50, somewhere in that range, right down to this previous support area. Okay, so this little support area right here is where I'm looking for to cover my position down into this area right in here. And if we really start to see weakness, then $40, 40.25, you can see this previous resistance back here, and here is a nice little area of support. That would be the last final take profit. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to this all the way down to there. I think I'll be happy with a move down to 44, but we'll see. We'll see if we get it. Bearish divergence on the MACD. Possible signal line crossover hasn't formed yet. That signal line crossover has not formed yet, but it looks like it's starting to. And I got some major resistance up here on the daily chart, working in my favor, kind of backing me up on the short position. So I like this to the short side. I'm short from 49.65. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated as this trade unfolds. Hopefully we get a little bit of a gap down tomorrow. and we'll start to ride this thing down a little bit. All right. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you in chat. Sign up for TTG Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.